All right, y'all, welcome to Bug Don't Know Shit. I have my partner down there extra hanging out with me outside today. It's a beautiful day in Texas, and today we are finally gonna get these wires, these guys here. I think y'all can see that. I'm not very good with this camera yet. We're gonna get those wires in the firewall attached. And that's been a project I have talked about a bunch of times. So many, I got tired of hearing me talk about it. But I do think I finally have the solution, and I'll get you on the camera there in just a second to show you that. And yeah, so that's gonna be today's video, knocking that project out so we can continue on putting this front clip together. And yeah, we'll just see how it goes. I think it's gonna work out well. I may probably gonna have to do a little metal work, it looks like. So we'll see how it works out. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and y'all have a wonderful day. It's time to go to work. But first things first, I've got to get these guys untaped and unattached and get these crappy connectors that I have on there now off. And then I'm gonna look and see how I'm gonna mount these things. You see I have I think that's like 1.5 inch or 1.75 inch hole. I think it's 1.75 inch that I was gonna use for this mounting bracket, or not a mounting bracket, but it was, had like a rubber grommet and the 2 connectors fit in that. But as we've talked about, this one doesn't work, so. All right, just to show real quick, I got these stripped on this side, and something I have to remember, these two are in the same port together. This brown and it's a red with like a greenish, light greenish stripe on it. And you see here, so I've got these basically 4 right here that are like 12, and I believe that's a 14 gauge. This one here. So, and then you have 4 that are 16, although these 2 are together. So I may have to use a bigger connector on that one. And then come in the car, and I've went ahead and pull my fuse box just to get this where I can get this end of the wire a little closer to me. But yeah, pulled all these connections off this end, and it's the same 4 here that are the big wires. And yeah, I believe it's just 3 on the inside there. So yeah, I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4 for the big connector. And if I really do only have 3, I think it'd be kind of, I hate to use that 16 wire connector for 3 wires, right? 1, 2, 3. Well, now why do I have, oh wait, yeah, 1, 2, 3. Ugh, golly. Well, I'm gonna have to look at that. Yeah, I was, because this flange connector, 16 wires, it's a 16 wire connector. I do like the idea of using this flange and having it mounted to the firewall, but I'm gonna look and see if like the 8-pin that I have has the adapter for the bracket, and then I may just screw it on there too. Let me look at one of these 8 pins and see. These are the old kits that I had right here. Yeah, you can use, I wish I just had a smaller 4-pin. Wonder if I bought a bunch of these, but I think they're all for the bigger pins, like the 12 and 14 gauge pins. Okay, just to show y'all real quick how I'm doing this with these Deutsch type connectors, JRReady crimper that I have here. First thing I would say about these, if you haven't seen these, you can set your gauge wires basically how deep it crimps. Right here, you just little adjuster, and I'm putting these on 12 gauge for now. And then this, what I do is pre-drop the pin in there and get it where it's flush with this, and you can adjust that by this device back here. You can undo the lock and nut, and if you wanted to, you know, you could push it in, screw it out, just set the depth that way, kind of tighten down the lock nut. But just shove as many of these wires, the strands, as you can get up in there. This is the thickest of the wires. It may actually be a 10 gauge. I'm kind of wondering if it's not. Basically shoving it until there are little holes in these pins, and when you can see the wires in those holes, you got it deep enough, basically. And then you just shove it in your crimper, which I got a wire, one strand right there. Shove it in your crimper, crimp it down, and there it is, all four sides crimped down, and that pin is not going anywhere. And these connectors, just try to remember this because I had to go look again, but the male pins go in the female housings. That's kind of how that works. And the female pins, which I got an example here, these, so they're open on both ends, these go in the male housing. So, and I don't know, I need to explain to you what makes a female versus male, but you can probably figure that out. Don't want to go into too many gory details here. I'm going to do these other four, and what I've decided to do, these are good up to 16 gauge. It's like 12 to 16 gauge, so I'm going to use these 4 pins for these. I know it's 4 wires, but it's actually 3 because these 2 get bundled together. And so actually these bigger connectors versus the 16 to the 20 connectors that I have for that other kit will work better for these double wires like this. So I'm gonna have 2 4-pin connectors attached to the Firewall. So I'm getting these done on the engine bay side, and I'll go inside and do the inside the car next. Okay, so got my 2 connectors, Deutsch style connectors. I got 3 pins in this one. These are the smaller gauge, and these big honking 12 gauge and 14 gauge, I think. Got them in here. Wasn't easy. I had to whittle on these wires. So one thing I've noticed, these even though the gauge wires are smaller, these old wires have a lot more shielding on them than newer like 12 gauge wires do. So I had to kind of peel some of this shielding off to get them to slide up in here because they got to go a certain depth, you know, before they click into place. But I mean, you see there's no exposed wires anywhere. Everything is, I mean, it looks great. I really do love these connectors. These big gauge were kind of a bitch, but you know, I think that's just the nature of the beast, dealing with big gauge wires and connectors. These 16 gauge wires, they just snapped in. Is like so easy. And so this is the outside 2 connectors. I haven't fished the other ones through yet. I'm going to bolt this fuse box back up in place, and it looks like a mess here. I do got to figure out these big fuses, 20 and 30 amp fuses. So these have these flanges on the back of them, and not to get sidetracked too much, but you see I have one like this with no flanges on it on the back, and it just sits in this housing right here. One of these, there's 2 of them, but you see I got 3 of these. So I look back at old pictures, these 2 were just like hanging out, and they had like taped the ends of these, I guess, so they wouldn't touch anything. So I'm gonna have to figure out something to do with them. Anyway, but here's my other 2 connectors on the inside, and I will run them through that hole. And I have some kind of grommets that kind of seal up around like that, and I think that's what I'm going to use for that 1 3/4 hole. Just stick both of these through that hole. And my plan is to kind of mount these kind of like, when I get them up in here, kind of mount them something like that on these brackets. And yeah, they'll be secure, they won't go anywhere. The thing about these JRReady or Deutsch connectors is you can unplug them and plug them up so easily. They really are easy to take apart and put back together numerous times. I have not had any issues with any of my other ones. Putting them together, taking them apart, putting them back together, they just work great. And they lock into place, snap into place. They're easy to unlock. Not like some, like on my truck, I know my OEM connectors, you know, you're always afraid you're gonna break something, like break the little tabs or whatever. These never feel like they're in any danger of breaking. I guess on a lot of OEM connectors, you're actually like needing to lift something up and slide it out. With these, you're actually pushing down and sliding them out, right? Like, here's one right here. So you just press down on that and they slide right out, or the other way, but yeah. You just press down and slide out. There's no like lifting up to try to get it over a clasp. You're pushing down and sliding out. Super easy. I do love these things. Yeah, it's just a matter of finding the right sizes for your application. But if you got 16 gauge wires, it's very easy. 16 to 20, it's very easy to find those connectors. And I found these, and I will post the website. I can't remember it off the top of my head. I'll put a link to it in the description. But yeah, anyway, so I'm calling it a day for the day. It's all right.
Sorry, Bucky.
What are you doing? About to work out?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so it is not exactly how I said it was going to be. Basically, my bracket, I have this plug, I needed it anyway. A little foresight might have helped, you know, knowing that I needed to get this on the back side, but when you're making these wires up over here, you don't really know anyway. This one worked. I did get the bracket screwed into the firewall there on that one. I have this rubber coated clip, metal clip. I have the wire and harness fastened down, and I did get a rubber grommet that actually seals really well on the inside around the wire harness. It's like a cone shaped, kind of a cone shaped grommet. It's got some length to it inside there, and it necks down and squeezes down on it. Got it in so my wires are protected and everything's sealed off good. You know, I think it's good. I think it's really good. It's not exactly what I had in mind when I started the project, but short of splicing wires to get more length, where I could have fastened these up against here, which in my mind is worse than what we've got right here, you know, just adding more splices and things, and just to get a little length. I don't think that would be good. I think this is good. This is all the original wires, nothing added to them. Put new plugs on. These plugs are great. They go in and out, no problem. They're very secure. There's no exposed wires anywhere. You know, I'm pretty happy with all of this. We will see when I get everything plugged up, make sure everything's working, or I got it plugged up, but get the battery back on, make sure everything's still working. We will see how it goes from there. But yeah, so that's it. This project has been kind of, I don't know, weighing on me is the right word, but definitely something I've been kind of putting off or trying to find a solution for, really, more than anything. Not really putting it off, just not real sure what I needed to do. So, but I think that is going to work. I'm trying to find a home for these screws. Anyway, so let me get rolling on the next thing. which was going to be the brakes, but I think I'm going to take her for a spin first now that I got that plugged up. Oh, and actually I was going to clean these up and put them on. That might be my next project. Pick all this mess up I've got everywhere, kind of clean things up, and go ahead and polish these, get that done, and then whatever I have, it's still early, it's only 10 right now, but then take the car for a spin, and then get on these brakes. I think that'll be the next project.